Hello there, commanders, and welcome to Spain versus France. Round 2, match 3, first battle. Book Forest. This is most likely the French map of choice. I've seen them, well, not them, but some French clans in the previous tournaments opting to choose that map, so this seems to be their map of choice. Well, let's see. The French team is the blue team, the red team is the Spanish team. Let's switch off the fog of war and let's see what we are going to see. Okay, 2 free players of infantry going to the left flank for the French team. Quite a big commitment to the center, triple glaives supported by 2 free cavalry units, and then another group of 9 melee units here on the right flank, so quite an equal spread of forces for the French team, but going quite shy here on the left flank. Just one player advancing, the rest is just standing. Maybe it's a trap. They're luring the Spanish team straight into a trap, but the Spanish team is actually following and already dealing quite a lot of damage. Half of the HP gone from that one unit. Let's turn off this, have a little bit larger field of view. Center, not much action, but the Spanish team is ready with their pikes in there and an elephant to go into those glaives once the time is right. And C unlocks in 140. In the meantime, French team is advancing here on their right flank as well. The Spanish team doesn't have that many forces to face them, but they do have 2 elephants that will be able to buy a lot of time. Pikes are already incoming to help. They have a perfect position over here, and nothing really from the French team that can deal with those pikes. In the meantime, Spanish team continues their advance here on the right flank, repeating crossbows, advancing together with some Roman infantry. You'll see probably an exchange of charges, if that wasn't the Sula. So just gently right click, but it works as well. Repeating crossbows getting activated, there we go. Doing some nice volleys, the French team retreating, healing up, just not much. Just throwing one unit by one, just using some kind of delay tactics, which is an interesting thing to see. I don't think we really saw any other team doing something like that, but it is Book Forest, and I can totally see a tactic like that working. Because the French is sneaking a cavalry there into A point, really nice charge into dogs and foxes as well. Dealt some nice damage and will start contesting the points, so the French team will pull out slightly ahead in terms of points. C unlocks in 24 seconds. The Spanish team is still not going, and the French team has 4 units on top of it. There we go. Now the Spanish team is moving. They have 15 seconds to start contesting C. All it will be given away for free. Let's see if the French team reacts in time. They need to stop them ahead of the point. You really need to stop them ahead of the point. Come on. Get another move. And instead you're letting them on top of the point to contest. Okay, that's a very interesting choice. C will be contested then, and French team will not capture it. So good for the Spanish team. They managed to move on time and get in there. In the meantime, on A, the French team is advancing. They managed to get themselves on top of the healing zone, but they are slowly running out of steam. The foxes can just simply surround them, outflank them, and they have already healed up. French team realizes that further advance really has no point, and they're slowly retreating there to the healing zone. Contest for C, pikes are heavily involved with those glaives. Glaives have found some nice flanking, but a third unit of glaives is slowly getting obliterated by the dogs. Probably some pike involvement was there as well. Another pike phalanx is just going to friendly fire and pull through just to eliminate those 2 units of glaives. An elephant is coming as well, so I don't see that point going the French way anytime soon, but the Spanish may just very well cap it if the pikes deal enough damage. Speaking of Spanish, they're also continuing their advance towards E. The French infantry in the front lines is slowly getting cut down, but the Spanish team is also slowly running out of steam. We'll see, can they get these units out, or will they get surrounded and finished off? Looks like they will be finished off, so no healing for the French. They need to retreat and heal up as well, and just coordinate another push, because the French team has a healing zone over here, and they will be able to push back the Spanish team. C still under much contest. The French team has sent cavalry reinforcements, and thanks to that managed to rout the pike unit. Now the only thing they have to deal with is the elephant, but an elephant can buy a lot of time by just running around in circles inside C, and looks like this is what it's going to do. Cavalry can be quite good charges, disrupt the elephant, and cavalry, with just the mass that cavalry provides, they can stop an elephant in its tracks. Let's see if they try to do that. That's what they are doing, and they decided against it now. So yeah, that elephant will probably be still running for quite a long time. Glaives are pretty good against elephants. They do have bonus damage against them. Not as much as spikes, obviously, or spears, I believe. But they do have some bonus damage, and they definitely do quite well against them. Similar thing now happening on D, an elephant being put in there, but the French team is healing in masses, and they will try to get another push going. The Spanish team, at least the Foxes, have pursued the French over to point D, so D is contested. No point gain for the French team from that. And as you can see, the teams are just 30 points apart as they're just exchanging the contests of the points, but none of the points has been flipped yet. Now the Spanish team, after healing up, they're still going back and forth, as you can see, with their units, healing them up and throwing them in a desperate attempt to push the front lines. The French team is also running slowly out of steam, and their units are going back to heal, but the healing zone for them is very, very close. And well, once the fight actually happens for E, if it happens at all, they'll have the healing zone extremely close, unless the Spanish team would manage to deny it. But as they're sending one unit by one unit, I don't really see it happening. There would need to be some kind of a coordinated push for that really to happen, but that in turn would also give the French team a lot of time to regroup and prepare a much solid defense. So the Spanish team has put their pikes now here on their left flank, trying to deal with that mass of infantry, as they realized the only thing they have, the only thing the French team has here on the Spanish left flank is infantry, and nothing that can really deal with pikes. So that's why they brought them here. In the meantime, dog reinforcements have arrived onto C, and the glaives are still trying to deal with that elephant. It has dropped below half HP, but the glaives aren't looking that strong either. The French team is sending cavalry. If they can find a charge to dogs, that will be quite devastating. But hello there, another elephant has appeared, and that one is definitely not going down anytime soon, if at all, unless the French team can send some reinforcements. And now, after repelling the attack, the Spanish attack onto D, the French team is moving on to counterattack. But that counterattack is just looking to be stopped in its tracks once this pike unit goes into pike phalanx, and there will be very, very little the French team can do about that. The two pike units are also moving to C. Both teams now investing quite heavily into C, well, quite heavily. They're sending reinforcements, slowly but surely. The glaives still barely alive, they need to retreat and heal up. I think the one unit is lost. Yep, those are the only two units alive. So the swords have come in to replace them. But you're facing two pike units. Oh, he managed to charge in. Was it a charge? It wasn't a charge. It wasn't even a charge, it was just Caesar walking in. So that is quite a big mistake on the Spanish pikes, not getting to pike phalanx. And now that will enable quite a longer contention time for the French team. Dogs would be very useful for the French team on C against those pikes, but they're deciding to send them on D to possibly help with these pikes that are defending A. The French team is trying to push towards the Spanish healing zone, but they are being stopped by Foxmen. They're very good to deal with such a spear blob, although the spear blob can also pull through and deal quite a lot of damage. There need to be some kind of flanking and hamstring being used. Elephant could definitely help as well with the stomps, but those probably, yep, that's Hannibal. Spear blob isn't doing that well. C, still contested. Pikes now in pike phalanx, the second unit got in, and yeah, the French swords are getting cut down, and the only thing looking to be holding C for the French is going to be that cavalry, and they're not doing too hot either. There is infantry unit, swords trying to get on C, but they're being stopped by dogs. In the meantime, here on the E-B flank, both teams are running back and forth between healing and just sort of meeting in the middle. So both teams have roughly equal distance to their healing zones. and they're running back and forth, reinforcing each other's front lines and trying to push the enemy further to the point. But well, as soon as you do this, you make it easier for your enemy to heal up sooner and faster. There we go, the French team has healed up their glaives, they recalled back to the base and now are charging back to C. The pikes have been dealt with, one last unit is running away to A, trying to get a heal over there. Was the last pike unit here, they're being dealt with dogs, so the transition of the French dogs to the D flank, DA flank is now paying dividends. The pikes have been dealt with, but there is still a lot of Spanish infantry ready to hold whatever French are throwing into advance. They healed up the Hannibal spears, or maybe they just spawned in, they probably died in there. I doubt they got out. And here we still have a very slow tug of war, quite literally, as they are in shallow water, makes them a lot slower. Here, spears, is it another Hannibal blob? It is. Trying to run away, get a heal off. This time they will be able to do that. And well, maybe the repeating crossbows can change the dynamic of this flank. We'll see about that. A lot of Foxmen, so they deal quite a lot of damage to Foxmen, more than just AP. So the repeating crossbows are very useful and powerful on that flank. C has been a little bit captured by the French team, and whoever caps C will set themselves for a huge advantage. The French team is looking as they are going to capture it at the moment, but those elephants can really buy a lot of time. The French team can't really find an answer to them. They're being slowed down, they're being chased, but oh boy, they are sturdy. Let's see if the Spanish team is going to reinforce. They're sending the third elephant onto C to buy even more time, and another pike unit. That seems to be their favorite combination, and those two units are very good at just holding a point. And the Spanish team, as we didn't see any other point being contested for a very long time, all teams are just meeting in the middle, none of them can really contest. Here at A, all you need to do is just put one pike over here, and any kind of advance onto point A will be stopped in its tracks, unless you can maybe sneak around here with cavalry or around here for the healing zone, but that's pretty much not happening. And the French team has also done pretty well of holding the Spanish team at bay and away from D. Oh, that even rhymed a little bit. Let's see here how the repeating crossbows are doing. They are retreating. They got wrecked by something. Must have been a cavalry charge. I must have missed it. Sorry for that. The cavalry is all the way back here, healing one unit over here at E, 2 units at base. So yeah, I really don't know what happened there. Sorry for that. But we do have quite a large battlefield going on, exchanges going back and forth on all flanks. The Spanish team now has quite a weak A flank, so maybe if the French team press the attack right now quite heavily, which seems that's what they're doing, there may be a chance of their getting A. But the healing zone still is here. The French team could respawn something in there, somebody in there if somebody dies. And now the French team looks to commit much heavier onto C. They're sending all 3 pike units onto C to exert some control over this area. The French dogs are over here, but they are again being sent over to D rather than to C. They need to realize dogs are counter to pikes, pretty much the only one counter to pikes. That is going to be a very nice recharge plus nuke damage, but hold the line is there, and that pike unit will not rot. Another recharge, almost recharge. Unit turned around, but it was not in pike phalanx, so another quite devastating. So that's very good onto the French team. But the Spanish team has realized there's no way they're pushing E. Just look at those fortified positions, going uphill cliffs, all the narrow corridors. You're not getting in there. So the Spanish team has decided to invest 6 more units onto C point, and the French team is kind of caught off guard by it. They don't have any reinforcements to send themselves. But as I said, they have found an opportunity to start a counterattack onto A. But the problem they are facing are elephants, and those elephants again can buy a shit ton of time, and they're really looking as they're not going anytime soon. They can still just heal, get their HP back. This cavalry could actually prevent them from healing. Now it's moving a little bit late on the French part, but it has I think it's still 10 seconds. That is before the patch that introduced 15 seconds healing, and there we go, the elephant healed. In this scenario the 5 seconds might not have been enough, still would have healed, but anyway, elephant is healed. cavalry is too late. And yeah, the infantry forces are mostly finished, but the elephants, all 3 elephants are still in the area. 2 of them full HP, 1 of them only half. And well, the Spanish team has captured point C, as the French team didn't send enough reinforcements in time, and the repeating crossbows combined with spears and pikes have just made a short work of the glaive and dog units. I don't know if the dogs were sent there in the end. I think they were, but it definitely wasn't enough. And now the Spanish team is poised for victory, although they have less points and they're gaining less points per second, as the French team is contesting both A and B. So as if the French team can capture one of these points, they will be able to get back into the game. But look at this, the force that was at C, the Spanish team is finally showing some kind of flexibility and movement around the map. It's no longer just you have your designated flank, just go back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, heal, 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 and try to push and then fail. Now they're showing some adaptation and they are going to back up D. The French team isn't even realizing that they're still pushing A. They're trying to base race the Spanish team against that, but there's no way you can win. There's nothing defending here. They have 6 units that is going to be captured in merely like 20 seconds. Now they're coming back, but well, it's too late. You will be stopped by spears. The healing zone is going to be denied, but nothing is going to appear there anyway. A still obviously not captured. Pikes have made it their way over here. Elephants still in quite good health. So yeah, there was never a chance for the French team to capture A, and now they're really set on back foot now that they have lost D. Oh, they're contesting it with 1 unit. Let's see if they could possibly come back. They're still struggling around in here. Like, it's locked. There's nothing for it to do here. D is captured. It's too late. Quite a big mistake on the French team part. And now they are in a very dire situation. The push on B is also failing. The healing zone here is enough to keep the Spanish team alive on the flank despite being outnumbered. The French team is in shambles and they are retreating over to E to heal up, but that is their last point that they have remaining. C is being contested. The French team has sent dogs against the pikes. That is a good choice. Sula is also quite a good choice to face the pikes. They are going to be routed. They still have, the Spanish team still has 2 dog units in there. One of them is going back to heal onto C. That is the advantage that previously wasn't there for the Spanish team, the healing zone, but the glaives are pursuing the dogs, making sure they cannot heal up, and the healing zone will be denied. Now the one last thing they need to deal with is that elephant, but what is the Spanish team doing? They could send those reinforcements from D back to C. It looks like they'll just keep them here, try to hold onto point D, as the French team is respawning onto the base and sending units to D for a counterattack. But the French team doesn't have a single healing zone over here at D, as the Spanish team has one very close. That would be different though if the French team could capture C, but there's a lot of Spanish reinforcements coming from the B flank after they have repelled the French advance. They're also now pushing onto E. They gotten quite close, but not quite on top of the point itself, so the point gain will not be denied from there. That doesn't really matter though. The Spanish team gets 4.5 points per second, French team only 1 point per second, so this is slowly going to look like a Spanish victory, unless the French can maybe turn the tide of the battle. They are capturing D, as the Spanish team has made quite a large mistake. They have sent everything back to heal and nothing to hold the point. Can the French team deny them the access? They are not really. They're just standing and they will let the spears around to get through onto the point to contest. Okay. Haha, but you see, that was a trap, because now the Spanish team is not protecting their repeating crossbows, and those Hannibal spears will very slowly go towards the repeating crossbows, and the repeating crossbows maybe will split up. They split 1, and now they will be stopped by dogs, so it's okay. Okay, but the French team is pushing the Spanish team away from D. They do have infantry advantage. That being said, elephant is there, and well, judging by the history, they haven't had much success with those elephants in the past. Doesn't look like this will be any different now. The pikes are also here. They are in pike phalanx. They're pushing through, killing their dog handlers as well. That was a very nice friendly nuke. There we go. Oh, my camera teleported because somebody teleported back to base. Okay. The French team is really trying to push them out of D. The elephant, well, you just cannot stop the elephant. Contest for C also has been stopped. The French team has run out of steam. Killing zone here for the Spanish proved just way too stronger. Just the reinforcements that came from B. And only one... Oh, capturing E might be a possibility for the Spanish team actually, if they just manage to rout this unit and then have an equal fight against this one. And nothing else will be there to heal our spawn. Let's see. The French team doesn't have a single player dead. Oh, that's a little bit of a missed Scorch Earth. Could have been a little bit more accurate. But the route is not going to go through. 2 Foxman unit versus 1. So yeah, the Spanish are not winning that. But they managed to contest E for a little bit. So there's that. Doesn't look like they're sending any reinforcements anytime soon as well. Spanish team doesn't have any cavalry to send there. So they're not flexible in that regard. And yet they have shown much more flexibility overall throughout this battle. But their composition is a little bit more flexible in the sense that they have elephants, they have pikes, and they have repeating crossbows. Meanwhile, the French team is just mainly regular infantry, 1 unit of dogs and 3 units of cavalry. So not much variety there for the French team. And they have really proven to struggle to fight against those pikes and elephants, especially the elephants. They just walk onto the points, they just hold the points, and there's nothing, really nothing, that the French team managed to do against them. They went to commit against them much more heavily, and maybe they felt like they didn't really need that, or maybe they needed more forces elsewhere. And now an elephant has been put on top of E to just add insult to injury. But the Spanish team is quite convincingly 1000 points ahead of the French team, slowly but surely crawling their way to victory, less than 100 seconds away from victory. And elephants just being put on all the points. Well, they don't really need to be on the points that they're defending. Just put it on top of E, just so it's contested. Doesn't really matter anyway. You're not going to win this battle any faster unless you were to charge the base, but it's not happening. The French team is still trying to launch an attack on D. That's one point that they are contesting. The elephant here is almost dead, and now they're deciding to turn around and go to C. I don't think they'll really reach C before the battle ends. They really have like half a minute left before the Spanish team reaches 3,500 points. Now they have 6 points per second as D contest has been stopped. So yeah, the French team kind of miscalculates there, but at this point it wouldn't have made a difference anyway. So GG. Spanish team, really good maneuver there. The breakpoint obviously was giving up on trying to push this flank, buy some time, move 6 units from B to C, then from C to D, back up. French team made quite a big mistake over here to let themselves be back up like that. They didn't retreat in time. They really tried to get rid of those elephants, but in the end they just couldn't. So let's see if they will be able to improve and adapt for the next battle. I'll see you there. Spanish team leads 1-0. So I guess until then, yes. I'll see you on Arena's Battlefields Commanders. There we go, forgetting my own outro.